Society provides us with a very specific script for marriage. We promise devotion in sickness and in health, and we assume that when the medical crisis arrives, that devotion will simply be automatic. This chart breaks down family caregivers in the United States, and you can see that a massive 40% of them are caring for a spouse. They are the single largest group in the caregiving world, yet they are mostly invisible. The cultural script focuses almost entirely on the patient. Neighbors and friends will ask for a polite update on the medical condition, but they rarely ask how the spouse is holding up. The assumption is that because they are the loving spouse, they are fine. But the spouse is rarely fine. A chronic medical condition enters the household as a demanding third party. It takes up physical space, it requires constant scheduling, and it drastically alters the day-to-day reality of the home. Adhering to this script of quiet, automatic sacrifice means the work of the marriage often stops, while the work of the illness takes over. It creates a situation where the medical needs of one partner begin to erase the identity of the other. The shift from equal partners to patient and caregiver rarely happens overnight. You start by making one small practical accommodation to your daily routine. Then you make another. Over months and years, this turns into a slow drift. Without even noticing it, you quietly rebuild the entire structure of the marriage around the illness, instead of building it around your shared life. Because you have the most context and the most at stake, you naturally take on the administrative burden. You become the medication scheduler, the appointment coordinator, and the insurance navigator. The sheer management of the condition consumes all your available attention. To push back against this drift, you have to actively outsource the logistics. You build external systems, alarms, automatic deliveries, scheduled services that run reliably without relying on your constant oversight. Getting those logistics off your plate preserves your mental bandwidth. You need that energy left over so you can remember how to be a romantic partner. Then there is the administrative task that couples usually handle once in their 50s and immediately forget about: emergency legal documentation. The system breaks down at 2 in the morning. The emergency room needs your authorization for a procedure, and neither of you knows which drawer the physical paperwork is buried in. In a medical crisis, lacking physical access to your healthcare power of attorney blocks your legal decision-making. Partners and a proxy need digital access on their phones within 30 seconds. A verified digital copy ensures your authority moves with you. Organizing these documents guarantees that you retain your agency and your voice when the situation is at its most chaotic. When adult children are involved, a spousal caregiver's first instinct is often to isolate themselves. You try to handle the burden entirely alone to protect your kids from worrying. Keeping the family at arm's length creates a damaging information vacuum. Distant children feel relieved, then guilty about feeling relieved, and resentment quickly compounds between siblings over who is contributing more. A shared digital workspace replaces the caregiver as an exhausting central hub. Uniform data distributes outward to the entire family circle simultaneously. For complex dynamics, read-only observer status keeps tense family members informed without granting them authority over decisions. A shared workspace will not repair a fractured family history, but it successfully eliminates the ambiguity and the miscommunication that cause those existing conflicts to flare up. Software and organizational systems give you control over the paperwork. They cannot touch the profound emotional toll of the experience itself. The reality that catches most spousal caregivers completely off guard is anticipatory grief. This is the psychological paradox of mourning the loss of a person who is still sitting directly across the table from you. It disguises itself as an exhaustion that a good night's rest won't fix. It surfaces as sudden flashes of resentment that you immediately feel guilty about, and as a quiet terror when you realize you are struggling to remember what your partner was like before the illness. The clinical consensus shows that simply giving this grief a name makes it manageable. Recognizing that this is a normal, documented part of the process strips away the guilt that caregivers carry. We organize the legal documents and streamline the daily logistics for a specific reason. We do it to reclaim the precise hours and the emotional bandwidth needed to seek out human support, so you can sit beside the person you love, not as their manager, but as their spouse.